So we're going to move on to the fourth of our finalists, Planting Justice, and we'll be hearing from Gavin Raiders, founder and co-chair of Planting Justice.
Thank you so much, Penny. It's such an honor to be here to introduce all of you to Planting Justice. My name is Gavin Raiders. Back in 2009, myself and Haleh Zandi, we were just 25-year-old babies. We started this organization together. 17 years later, next slide, we've, oh, I'm sorry, go back one. Not quite ready. 17 years later, we've built a community, more than 50 full-time staff, earning living wage jobs and benefits, primarily formerly incarcerated people. And we serve more than 2,000 young people per year, most of whom are facing immense challenges in their East and West Oakland high schools. I'm going to introduce you to Planting Justice first by giving you a taste of what it looks like. Next slide.
We are in the heart of East Oakland.
This is my neighborhood. I come straight off the streets. I was selling dope 7, 8 years ago. A lady from my neighborhood had me by my ear, literally, and dragged me down here. I didn't know it was even down here. Made me apply for this job and hired me on the spot. I've been here ever since. I ain't sold dope in years. This place has done a lot for me, man. It changed my life. If I wouldn't have been working here, I'd probably be dead or in jail.
I was in prison for 16 years. I got arrested a day after my 19th birthday, and I got out when I was 35. So basically, all my young years I spent in prison. When I was about to get out, I hear all these horror stories about people not giving employment to people who are formerly incarcerated, not many resources, people judging you for what you were in prison for.
Once you get out and then you go try to find these jobs, and then, a lot of them don't even hire you once they get your background, and they just it's not going to work due to your background. And then if they do allow you to work, it's like people are, treating you differently and, treating you like you some type of animal or something. But not here.
In this environment, you're not a number. You're a person, which means that you get encouraged to be in leadership positions. You get encouraged to grow, to do different things, to introduce new things to the program, to the organization. And, and you have a lot of room to grow.
We all can relate. A lot of us are directly from this neighborhood, so we don't commute every morning. We 5 minutes away from home. And yeah, it's like a family. It's like my extended PJ family.
But what it feels like now is that I'm finally accepted in society. It's accepted in the community that I actually live in.
Now we got 55 full-time staff doing this healing, nature-based work. Our average wage here is $25 an hour. Full benefits for kids. We covered 60 children in the organization for medical, dental, vision. All of our staff have full benefits. And we want people to be able to meet their needs fully.
I was one of those people working in the prison for $1 an hour to do a job that out here gets paid $30 an hour with benefits. We know how it feels to have to work for cents or nothing. That is slavery. You're forcing somebody to work in a job that they don't want to work at and only be paid a few cents. And if you don't work, you're punished. When I came here, I was just like, wow, I was impressed. And by being here and Planting Justice, it has opened doors for me that I never even thought possible, So I've been able to have a job that gives me stability. I've been able to be more around nature, learning more about plants. This nursery is huge and it's so amazing.
Right now, we're at the largest perennial plant nursery permaculture system in Northern California.
It's one thing to be able to talk about Planting Justice, and it's another thing to see it. So I'm so glad that you got a little bit of taste of what our organization does by listening to our staff leaders. Next slide. The focus of our proposal today is our mobile farmers market truck, and you'll see how it connects all of the different sites that we do. But critically, this work is about helping our community, our staff stay free. stay at home with their families where they're needed most, doing work that is tangible, that is improving the lives of their family members, their community members, by growing food, by tending to the land, by transforming lifeless spaces into places for hope and opportunity. So our mission is here. Next slide. We have Planting Justice is truly a transformational organization. We have 4 main sites throughout the Bay Area, 2 in Deep East Oakland on the same block, and 2 in El Sobrante, unincorporated Contra Costa County. So what you saw mostly there was images from our 2-acre nursery. We're also building right down the street a 3-acre aquaponics farm in collaboration with UC Davis that's going to grow more than 150,000 pounds of certified organic produce each year. And just like our nursery, all of our staff will be directly from the community. The entire site will be run by folks who live there, raise their children there, primarily formerly incarcerated people and youth. We also have 2 main sites in El Sobrante. We have a 4-acre orchard with more than 1,200 fruit trees in the ground. It's the most biodiverse farm in the entire state, with 600 varieties of fruit trees and nearly 800 varieties of other perennial plants. And that mother farm grows not only the fruit for our community, but also gives us access to these rare heirloom varieties that we grow at our nursery, many of which you can't find at any other nursery. And this nursery ships fruit trees all over the country, bringing money out of state into a really important community in East Oakland. This map is important because what you're going to see next is our mobile farmers market truck connects all of these sites. Currently, we don't have the ability to move our produce to other low access communities throughout Alameda and Contra Costa County. And now with the addition of our 4th site, the Good Table Cafe, Kitchen, and Nursery, we're going to have a commercial kitchen space that our young people and our staff are going to be able to upskill to not just work in nurseries and farms and education, which is all beautiful work, but also learn how to make value-added products, market and distribute that produce and those value-added products all across these 2 counties. Next slide. I'm really excited to tell you about our mobile farmers market truck. This is the focus of our program. It's beautiful. It's a $90,000 vehicle that we've already secured. It's going to be delivering produce to more than 500 families each week. So we're talking about 25,000 people each year in Alameda and Contra Costa County who will be able to benefit from affordable organic produce that's going to be sold on a sliding scale. There will always be produce available on a sliding scale. It's also going to help us upskill our youth. I mentioned we work with 2,000 young people each year at high schools throughout East and West Oakland, but we also serve 60 paid youth interns. And these youth interns are making $17.50 an hour. They're working at all of our sites, and they're really able to benefit from doing work that stokes their generosity. Primarily our youth interns have been distributing produce by setting up pop-up stands where we make green smoothies, but we don't have the infrastructure until this program launches to really scale up that distribution. And with our aquaponics farm, next slide, with our aquaponics farm, we'll be growing 150,000 pounds of produce per year, turning that into value-added products, selling it through the cafe, shipping those products across the country, but critically moving that produce to low access community sites. We already have 8 sites set up for this program, primarily schools, churches, and transitional housing centers, other aligned nonprofits, and places that are already doing food distribution but just need more. And so what we're asking for today is to fully match our $100,000 that we've already secured for this program. So $100,000 over 2 years will enable us to hire 2 full-time staff. These staff members will be making $75,000 a year in salary and benefits. And critically, it's going to provide $20,000 towards our youth workforce development participants. So our young people get the full experience of growing, harvesting, going into the kitchen, getting their certification in food safety, learning how to work in kitchens, and then stoking their generosity by distributing that food throughout their communities. So you can see here that we've already secured half of the funds needed. but we haven't been able to launch the site because we need 2 full-time staff members. And so with your support, we'll be able to do that, and we'll be able to begin distributing produce 5 days a week with our mobile farmers market truck. Next slide. Critically throughout all of our programs is our reentry program. Wraparound services are critical. Folks need full-time living wage work, but they also need so much more. We also work with a lot of young people who have been incarcerated or are being referred to us by mental health advocates at their schools, principals and teachers, for fear that folks are going down the road of violence and incarceration. And so what we provide is access to therapy, full-time case management, tutoring support, professional certification courses, and then just working alongside adult mentors who get it. Youth get to work alongside adults from their community that went to the same high schools they went to, that have survived incarceration, are doing beautiful healing work, and are on their own healing journeys as an example of other avenues that you can take to be of service to your family and community and meet your needs. Next slide. Our education program works at 8 high schools throughout East and West Oakland. And so this is primarily the way that we recruit for our youth internship programs. And the youth will be running our farmers market truck under the mentorship of our kitchen staff and our distribution staff. And so we are currently growing tens of thousands of pounds of produce with our young people at our farms, at their schools. They're growing the food in school, harvesting it, distributing it to their communities through this farmers market truck. Next slide, please. The mobile farmers market truck is critically needed now because we're in construction on a 3-acre aquaponics farm. This is a method of growing food when you don't have healthy, clean topsoil. Our soil is contaminated in Deep East Oakland. We're right next to Highway 880 near the airport. So all of the produce is grown utilizing a recirculating system where we grow fish in the aquaculture building as our pets. They're not a main harvest. We'll do like 1 or 2 fish harvests a year for festival type of experience for our young people to be able to do a block party. But primarily those fish are feeding the farm with nutrients. And the water from the aquaculture building goes and grows our farm, and you can grow food so much faster than in the ground. We can get a head of lettuce in 18 days rather than 40. So a very intensive food production system requires a very intensive food distribution system, which we're really excited about now with our truck. Next slide. Our mother farm is the 4-acre orchard. We currently have more than 1,500 perennial trees and shrubs in the ground. Most of these trees are between 2 and 6 years old, so they're just coming into production right now. And so with harvesting the fruit from this program, it moves through our kitchen, creating jams, baked goods, fruit vinegars, fruit leather, and then of course the raw produce, which will be distributed via our truck. Next slide, please. This again gives you a sense of how critical this mobile farmers market truck is. It's a refrigerated truck. It has gray water. It's a demonstration site in and of itself. And this truck will be run by our 2 full-time staff members, really as a method of helping our young people to branch out their skill sets, working in kitchens, distributing food, and really being able to be of service in their community. Next slide, please. We're based in Deep East Oakland with our 2 sites on 5 acres on this one block. And most of the youth and staff that we work with live in the community that they are growing food in. And it's really an impressive site. So we're open Monday through Saturday, our nursery. You can come and visit us in person. But it's really important that this mobile farmers market truck can connect Alameda and Contra Costa counties with all of these tens of thousands of pounds of beautiful produce that we'll be growing and distributing. Next slide, please. Critically through all this is the pathways to workforce development. We have experienced over the past 17 years, creating living wage jobs for more than 100 formerly incarcerated people. And I'm so proud to say that only 2 of those people have gone back to prison in 17 years on a new charge. So we're developing a model that proves and demonstrates that recidivism, going back to prison when you come home, is by design, and so is freedom. And freedom is by design as well too. Planting Justice is a model for that by creating wraparound support for our young people to help them avoid going to prison, and wraparound support for people coming home with living wage, benefited, tangible, and healing work. We can create a new model for our state. Next slide, please. This last site in El Sobrante is the site of our commercial kitchen space at the former Adachi Nursery. We open in October. It'll be a retail nursery, gathering space, farm store, and commercial kitchen where our food truck will live. Next slide, please. Our farmers market happens just outside of the Good Table Cafe. We close down the residential street every Sunday from 10 to 2. And what's a really important point that I didn't mention yet is not just our produce will be going on the truck, but we have 18 vendors, all women-owned and BIPOC-owned food and farming businesses, and we don't want them to go home with unsold produce. So not only will our produce be on the truck, but we'll be buying produce and receiving donated produce from our vendors at our farmers market so that all of our vendors go home empty-handed, and we can move that produce through reduced priced distribution throughout the counties. Next slide, please.
I'm sorry, Gavin.
That's
Your
it.
time is up. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you.